Hi, my name is Eden, and if you're getting this video, it's because you've requested some additional information about Lead Sprout. We're probably looking to save some time and be efficient, and just making sure that what we have to offer is good enough fit with your business, and the services and how we deliver our services are at a high enough quality that it warrants a little bit more of your time, right? Nobody wants to go through this whole process just to find out that we're not a good fit. So I totally get it. That's why I made this video, to send it to people just like yourself. So I'm going to give you a quick and concise breakdown of how we operate from a high level, keeping in mind that everything that we do is very much catered to the individual or team, brokerage, dealership that we're working with, right? So right now I'm going to be diving in to how we work with real estate businesses. So again, specifically, if you're a solo agent, you're part of a team, you're a team lead, you're a brokerage, like a boutique brokerage, this is definitely going to be how we approach serving your needs, okay? If the assumption is that you're looking for qualified appointments. So what I'll do is I'll dive right in. I won't waste your time talking about me and talking about the ethos of the business, all that good stuff. All that should come clear as you see how we actually work with our agent partners. Okay, so if you're, doing in-depth research about who we are, which I would recommend you do, obviously look us up on Google so you can get access to testimonials that we have no control over. Obviously, if you come to our website, we're cherry picking all the best testimonials that we can find, just like everybody else is. So I encourage you to go online and just do your own research. So if you're visiting our website, which is, as you can see up here, leadsprout.ca, feel free to scroll through and you can see the type of work that we do in general, but you want to get a more tailored description of how we work with realtors, then click on this right here for real estate appointments. That'll bring you over to the page I set up for our brothers and sisters working in the real estate space. And this is our process right here. And to make it even simpler, you even have to take a look at all four tiles. It's really these three tiles that we are going to be addressing today. The first tile that you see on the far left, the one that says build awareness and recognition, that is a standalone program. It would still be a part of your regular retainer, regular fee if you were working with us. That'll make sense as we move forward. But we are not looking to nickel and dime. So this program is not a separate program in terms of cost, but it is a separate program in terms of execution and results. And the goal of this program here is to increase name recognition and basically create a celebrity realtor out of whoever it is that we're doing this for. And again, the name of the game isn't the celebrity realtor with like a Prada or Gucci bag and the big sunglasses and paparazzi. That's not what I'm talking about. But what we're looking for is for your name or your team's name or your brokerage's name to come up in mind in your target market local to you as one of the top 5 realtors that they think of when they're thinking real estate, right? So it is very much a brand focused program, but we're mixing the power of solid branding with the power of strategic digital marketing. So you're placing the content and the videos that we would be working together on in all the places your prospects frequent online, so that they understand that you're knowledgeable, you're capable, you're in all the places that they visit, so they feel like you're everywhere. And then from there, what we find is our lead generation pipelines and even your work, whether you're circle prospecting, if you're still doing door knocking or cold calling, and even your sales presentations, what you'll notice is your conversion rates will start to increase, and the quality of your leads are going to increase, and the costs to acquire a new appointment or a new lead or a transaction will decrease substantially, because this program greases the wheels, right? So that's a side project. We can talk about that in the future. That typically comes up months down the road after we are producing an ROI with our main lead pipeline. So that's really what I'm going to dive into here. Okay, so that's enough about the market dominance program. We can definitely talk about that another time. This is really where the money is in the beginning of our working relationship. Okay, so the first and second step here are very, very linked, so I can't talk about one without the other. So the first step for us is identifying exactly who it is that we're speaking with, right? So just to walk you through everything, let's say you and I, we start doing business. High five, welcome to Lead Sprout. We're working together now. the first thing that I care about is learning just a little bit more about your business. I want to know, what do you specialize in? What is your niche, right? I'm going beyond buyers and sellers here, but we're looking at, do you have a property-based niche? Like you're dealing with waterfront properties, condos only, equine properties, or farmland? Are you doing regular residential properties? All those kinds of things matter to me. If you have sort of a price range that you're currently dealing with, or a price range that you would like to deal with, which we do help our agents do, a number of things. Like they say, the riches are in the niches, right? So I want to know specifically, who is it that you would like to transact with? What do they look like? And then from there, we're going to be looking at one of the most important things about your business in regards to this system. So that is going to be the benefits you bring to the table. Now, I'm sure you're a stand-up guy or gal. It does not matter to me. I'm sure you handle your business ethically. You've worked very hard on developing a good reputation, and I understand the value in that. And you can't overcome that in personal selling, right? If you're facing a prospect, letting them feel that and see that is invaluable. So all the power to you for developing that. But what I'm talking about in terms of benefits, I'm talking about, what solutions do you bring to the table? The reason why I'm using that word very intentionally is because the first step that we take in developing your custom campaign for generating prospects, the first step is going to be finding out, what are the motivational triggers that exist in your local market that cause people to transact. And then the second step is, out of those motivational triggers, which triggers evoke the strongest response and will actually encourage people to take a step forward in the way that we want them to move along a path that we've determined for them. And this will make more sense as we move forward. So all that to say, it's really important for me to know, what benefits do you bring to the table? What solutions do you have when a prospect says to you, hey, there's no inventory, I just can't find a home, so I'm not looking to sell my property until I can find something for myself? What do you say to that? What do you say to an investor that's over leveraged, and even though it's a great time to buy, they can't access the capital that they need to make that purchase? What do you say to these people that have situations, obstacles that prohibit them from moving forward? Do you have incentive programs? Do you have certain scripting that you use that helps them see that their obstacle isn't really as big of an obstacle as they believe it to be? All these things matter, right? So once I get that, and it takes that much time, because obviously you know what you do bring to the table, I immediately shift my focus to the market. I'm sorry, I know you and I are going to definitely get along, but my focus has to be the market, because if I crack that nut, then that's where all the results come from, right? So what that looks like is, and so the reason that we focus so strongly on the market is because very early on, one of the things that I noticed in the digital space, I've been working with realtors for about 5 years now. I've been in digital marketing for about 10 years. That's at the time of this recording. Actually, sorry, well, 12 years, not 10 years. So one of the things that I noticed were that realtors have a lot of concerns when it comes to marketing online. And it's because there's a lot of bad actors out there that purport to bring you leads, purport to bring you qualified leads, when in reality, they're just serving you prospects on a platter. They've never touched them. They're unmet. They haven't been, their motivation hasn't been determined. Their level of intention hasn't been gauged. And yet these are, definitely pre-qualified leads, of course, right? Every single one of those people on that list is ready to transact with you in the next 3 months, obviously. And so people have shared, they've been very happy to share with me exactly why they're not looking to do business with me, right? I grew my business through cold calling. I grew my business through Zoom sessions, in-person sessions as well. And I was very happy to hear those complaints. Do you know how much I would have had to spend to get results in terms of surveys and data accumulation and then analyses to get the insights that realtors were happy to scream at me over the phone? I took notes down every opportunity that I could, because I knew I wanted to plug those gaps. And one of the first things that I heard was that there's this thing that happens. And when I consult with other agencies, I see it happen behind the scenes. So let's say there's an agency working with Doug, the new client. And so to help Doug, what this agency does is they use a form of testing I call spaghetti testing, which is basically where they come up with 40, 50 different ads and they just shotgun it or throw it against the wall, and they just sit there and they hope and pray that at least one or two of those ads stick and just one or two of those ads generate prospects. Because if we do get that, Doug will be happy and we're going to get paid, right? And he might close one or two and we might get a referral fee, we might not, depending on our price structure. And so what ends up happening is, and this is best encompassed by a quote that I'm definitely paraphrasing because I forget the full quote and where I got it from. But the quote went something like, "It's far worse to not know where your success comes from than it is to fail. Because at least if you fail, you can learn from it. But if you succeed and you don't know where the success comes from fundamentally, if you haven't earned the knowledge for that success, what ends up happening is you're always looking over your shoulder, waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for the results to fail." And a lot of people that I speak with, they tell me a story of an agency that worked for about 1 or 2 months and then the results declined. They never recovered. The performance was just gone. And so that is a strong indicator of an agency that is generating these prospects in this method, where they just come up, they just spitball in a brainstorming session, lots of different ways to create ads, and then they throw it against the wall and they hope that something sticks. And so my solution to that is something that comes natural to me, thankfully. I'm very grateful for it, but it's a scientific method. It's a scientific approach. And I don't throw that word around lightly. Science is something that I care about. You can see that appreciation imbued throughout the business and how I handle data and how my team handles data, and then how we go about gathering that data as well. And so what I look for and what I do is I approach the market so that they can tell me, not you, not me, but they can tell me who to target, what pain points or motivational triggers they have that we need to address, which of our multiple solutions they feel like would best address their issue, and then finally, how to present it to them. All right, how to present that solution to them. So this is what I mean by that. The very, very first stage, in the first week of us working together, that first week, technically 6 days, will be used for something that we call the rapid market test. Okay, so if you have come across us before, you worked with us before, it had a different name before, but currently it's called the rapid market test. We don't ask for extra time. We don't ask for extra money. This is all contained within your regular working relationship with us, okay? So in that first week, what we do is we run 2 tests. Well, I run 2 tests. In that first test, I will bring several pre-made motivational triggers that would cause a person to think or want to transact, okay? So, or something about potentially transacting that bothers them, which is holding them back from transacting. So I gave you a couple of examples before. In most markets, until very, very recently, for the last few years, the number one test result that we got, and I'm happy to share this with you because it's very obvious. The number one result that we got was that people were not transacting because they couldn't find a place to leave. But the test let us see specifically what about that pain point really, really resonated with each individual market that we worked with in. So part of the test includes me going over to your competitors' negative reviews, going over to Zillow's negative reviews, going over to forums, and basically lifting the language that your prospects are using when they're talking about their pain points or another one of those categories of motivational triggers. I want to know how they talk about it, right? Because this will become very important later on, and I'll explain that in a second. So we're going to have a list, let's say 20, 25, 30 of these potential pain points, motivational triggers for transaction or obstacles, things that you've seen as well. We're definitely going to be including that in our test. And we are going to launch that into the market. And I want to see which of these motivational triggers resonate the very most. right? So like I was saying before about that earlier example about a lack of inventory being the major obstacle, what we found between different markets was that that obstacle was more nuanced than even sometimes our clients would understand. What we saw was inside some markets, the issue of moving into a new property wasn't that there was a lack of inventory, but that there was inventory, but it was prohibitively expensive. In some markets, it wasn't that it was prohibitively expensive. They could tolerate that increased cost, but most specifically, they, amongst all the, let's say artificially inflated homes that were on the market, out of all of those, they would be willing to buy something. But the people in this unique market didn't see anything that they liked. They didn't see anything that actually resonated for themselves or their family. It just wasn't a fit. And so these small nuances seem like, we're just splitting hairs. But if we find out exactly what your prospects care about this early on in the process, even though it's a slight deviation because we're splitting hairs, over time, when we build that main campaign, you'll see that these two people require very, very, very different handholding and very different offers to address their need, right? So hopefully you're starting to see that we need to really dig deep into your market, and we do that again using data, because I'll sit there in the background, I'll analyze and watch how people are responding to these motivational triggers, and I'll know, and I'll break down exactly how I know that when we're working together in these like videos or in-person sessions to review the results, and we'll break down exactly why certain triggers should be focused on. Now, if you remember earlier, I had said, I would love to know what benefits you bring to the table, what solutions you bring to the table to assist these people. So at this point, we play a game of matchmaking. What triggers popped up as the main triggers to focus on? What solutions do you have to deal with it? So we're going to list those. And guess what? We're going to test them too. Because while we know that certain triggers might be the best fit for certain types of prospects, they don't know that. And right now, we need to know what they know. We need to understand what they believe, whether or not it's factually true. If they believe that option number 2 is the best solution for them rather than option number 4, that tells us that they need to be educated on that, or they need to be led towards option number 2 until they actually speak face to face with you, and then you can redirect their attention in a more controlled way in conversation to the actual solution that matters. Okay, so hopefully you're starting to see that what we care about isn't just what happens online. What we view this as is a part of your sales process. So a lot of times you'll see me or hear me talk about the links to your sales process between what we do over here, because it all matters and they're all connected. So like I said, this test takes a week. By the time we're done the test, we're going to not only know why people want to transact or what's prohibiting them from transacting, we'll also be able to connect them to the right solution that they care about most. And then finally, the most important thing, and the reason why I dig into those negative reviews and I'm taking the language of the people and using it in our testing. The reason why I do that is because the second phase of testing is testing how to pitch everything that we just learned. We've learned all the things that I covered already, but now it comes down to presenting this to the public in a way that makes it clear, hey, we know your pain point, we know your struggle. This is our presentation of your struggle. We want that to resonate. Here is a solution that we know works. We want that to resonate. And then this is the path we want you to take so that we can connect. And we need that to resonate as well. If we have these 3 components in place, we have finally a solid prospect generating campaign. Okay. So the prospect generating campaign at this point is just generating prospects. It's not a lead. Like I said, they've been untouched, they're unmet, they haven't been filtered in any way. They're all owned by you, but I would I would cringe internally if I ever sent you this list of people, because all they did was express interest. But we haven't found whether or not they're valid prospects ready to transact with you. And each one of those steps is important to figure out, right? So what we then do is we like I said before, we're generating these prospects, but we're going to house them in our CRM. Our CRM is a really fantastic piece of sales software. No, it does not connect to your inventory, so it's not going to replace your CRM. Also, no, you don't have to use it. It's just there for you to access if you choose, but it's mainly for me and my ISAs to use to work on those prospects. That's where our drip campaigns come from. That's where our landing pages and funnels are built. It's a very robust tool. I'm very happy to talk to you about, but I won't dive into that. So at this point, we have a list of prospects that is being generated. So that list is growing. As soon as we get our first prospect, they're immediately being worked on with our ISAs. Our ISAs are out not to just do quick touches and let you know about it. Their role is to get a hold of this person as soon as possible. So we have very heavy, aggressive follow-up in the beginning stages as soon as we get the lead. And once we make contact, we qualify every single prospect, not up to our standards. It's not my job, it's not my place to dictate to any other business owner what a qualified lead is to their business. That is absolutely ridiculous. Why would I ever do that? As a salesperson, I know what I want. As a business owner, I know what I need. And the same thing goes for you. You have those dual roles. And so what we do is part of our onboarding process includes a step where you actually tell me what is a qualified buyer to your business, what's a qualified seller to your business, or whatever type of lead we're talking about. The reason why this is so important is not only does it inform how I build your prospect generating campaign, but it also informs how the ISAs do their follow-up. We will literally layer your criteria on top of our scripting so that we can custom qualify this prospect to make sure that they're a good fit for your business based off of what you told us you require. And this is really where the main magic of our system exists. Everything else I told you about is fantastic, but the thing that I've gotten to see after 5 years of doing this, in terms of what our main value proposition is, the main value proposition is we bring efficiency to you. Sure, you could avoid spending some extra money, right? Because we are a premium service, and I'll break down the pricing with you in a second. We are a premium service. You could save the money by not investing with us. You could learn how to run digital advertising on your own. You could do that and manage that while running your business and going to showings and listing presentations and all that. All the power to you. I've seen realtors do that before. But at some point, you're going to have to see that your time has a dollar value attached to it. So what can you do with the time that you're sinking into all of these extra tasks, right? And if you are a team lead or a broker, you already understand this. Otherwise, you wouldn't have taken the steps that you have to get to where you are. And so what we bring to the table is efficiency. Rather than sending you a list of 500 people that are severely unqualified, just, so that you can cross your fingers and hope that one or two answer the phone so you can have a good conversation, we don't do that. What we do is we centralize your efforts and we focus your efforts on the 10 people that are likely going to transact with you and fit your criteria and want to speak with you all within the first 6 months, right? They're looking to transact in the next 6 months, if that is your criteria, let's say, or 3 months. Again, if that's your criteria. And so what we do is, like I said, that we bring efficiency to the table. But when I say rather than sending the 500, we're sending you 10, I don't want you to think that your prospects aren't yours. So one of the unique things about working with us is that we're exclusive with every agent or team or brokerage that we work with. Whatever your territory is now is yours if we're not working with somebody else. Okay, I will tell you flat out. If you let me know about a territory that you would like to cover, I would tell you flat out, I can't do that because we're beholden to another agent or another party in that space, and I won't even tell you who it is. And you will know that it's the same thing with you and I. If we are doing business and somebody else approaches us trying to do business in that area, the answer is no. We can't ethically work a prospect when we know they're in two different databases or more. We're not going to have you pay more for better quality leads. We're not going to have you jump through hoops and prove to us that you're worthy of higher quality leads. That's ridiculous. So every single prospect you generate is yours. Every single lead that we generate is yours. Every single appointment and sale that you generate is yours. We're not taking a cut. We don't do referral fees. We're simply here to be a tool in your tool belt to help you grow your business. Okay, so lots of talking. I'm looking at the clock down there. Jeez, 25 minutes of Eden just rambling. Oh my goodness. If you're watching up to this point, hopefully you're finding what I'm saying is valuable enough to feel like it warrants a further conversation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly show you what I'm talking about. So feel free to skip ahead if you'd like to skip the next portion, because I will show you the step-by-step process that I just talked about, or at least a portion of it. And if you'd like to skip ahead and just go ahead and see what's at the very end of this, feel free. But I'm about to dive in right now. So one of the things to look at, let me just turn this off. And go over here. Okay, so if I refresh this screen, it's going to force me to do two-factor authentication. I'm not going to do that while recording a video, so I'm just going to go as is. Let me just set this to maximum. Okay, cool. All right, so just for demonstrative purposes, I'll show you what we did with this brokerage. So this is a unique brokerage where they have a one-stop shop. I had never, up to this point, I had never dealt with a brokerage of this kind, and they had never done outside advertising. It was a new brokerage. It was a new broker. They're a realtor, but then they expanded beyond that. So it was a team of one in terms of the admin and the sales and all that, and then they had the in-house teams that I'll tell you in a second, but they have a complete process of land procurement or finding a teardown, and then going from there in custom development of like an architectural design for a luxury custom home. That was their main offering. And they didn't do like regular residential properties. They always did these luxurious, beautiful custom homes. And so that was the second step of the process, planning and designing, again, in-house. Then from there, they have in-house construction crews and teams and all that labor to actually build the properties in these immaculate ways, and amazing vendors from overseas that they got all the custom orders from for cabinetry and this and that. Beautiful. Then after that, they had financing, and then finally they had everything that they did after the actual structure was built to make it a home for their client. So they had a one-stop shop. They didn't know who they were going to be speaking to. They didn't know how they're going to approach the market. I didn't know those pieces of information either. So what we had to do was the market test that I told you about earlier in this video. As you can see, this was called the rapid fire test, or the rapid fire tone test earlier, but new name these days. So Facebook doesn't like it when you just keep ad account here for demonstrative purposes. I may have to pause the video. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. And I didn't have to do the two-factor authentication. Yes, small wins, right? Okay, so when we click in here, let's remove this. Okay, so when we click in here, you can see the first stage of our market test, right? So I had mentioned that there's a bunch of different motivational triggers for people to transact. This is where they exist, right? So these ads, by the way, are the ugliest ads in existence. I kid you not, they are very, very ugly. I'll show you a few examples. The reason why we do we create the ads in this way is it's based on a psychological principle. What we're looking for is a pattern interrupt. If you haven't heard that term before, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, all the social media based advertising, it relies on something called pattern interrupt, right? So a pattern interrupt is something that interrupts a pattern. Picture you on Facebook or Instagram, and you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling because you're looking at friends and family and images and videos and all the stuff that you went to Facebook for, but not an ad. You didn't go there to seek out an advertisement. But the ad to get your attention better be so different, unusual, off-putting, exciting, engaging to get you to stop your thumb as you scroll, right? All the billions of dollars of research that Facebook has pumped into their platform just for you to continue doing this, right? And it's our job as advertisers to get you to stop, maybe scroll down a little bit and say, what was that? And so this is meant to be so high contrast in terms of its colors. That's why it's called a color block test, that it actually causes somebody to stop. And in that second, they read this. They read something like this. They can see, let me just select a bunch. And feel free to pause. This is, the examples don't pertain to your business, but you can pause and take a look if you'd like. Okay, so lots of different sentiments, different reasons for people to transact. And then once we determined which ones were winners, then we came over into the second phase of testing, which told us exactly how to begin structuring the language around their pain point. One of the most powerful results that we got, and it's my personal favorite, was why pay 5-star pricing for a 2-star home? Very, very, very powerful. It's no longer as powerful, but very powerful in that time. This was during a COVID period with low inventory, artificial inflation of these homes, these properties. I shouldn't say artificial, but you understand what I mean by that. The extreme demand and other unique factors like shortages of building material or a lack of building or strikes and all these different things that created this perfect storm to get a home to be worth a lot more than it technically should have been worth. So that was a powerful way of encapsulating all of that for these people. So some winners, let me just quickly highlight a few. So 5 traps to overspend on generic homes, 3 embarrassing ways to ruin your custom home, build a custom home with none of the headaches, your family deserves a 5-star experience at home. These are just some of the winners of basically how to present the pain point. Or how to sort of prick it, but also highlight a potential solution, just entice some interest. From there, we determine certain winners. We take those winners and I spray those winners all over the landing page, all over the main campaign ad, all over the drip campaigns, everywhere I can, because it's reinforcing the understanding in their mind. Oh, this company, this brokerage, this realtor understands my plight. They understand who I am. They understand my struggle. Meaning, if they tell me that they have a solution, I'm down to listen to it because they understand everything else. They have a higher appreciation of your solution the more and more you can fit into exactly what their struggle is. And this is basic sales. Hopefully you're looking at me saying, dude, that's not special. That's not new because it's fundamental sales principles. But what we're doing is we're bringing that online. And sometimes there's a disconnect when you're dealing with digital marketers, digital operators. They lose the basics of sales. And this is what we're trying to do right here. So let me show you what one of the first main campaigns looked like. Okay. This is an example of one of them. As you can see, we have lots of different versions because we're constantly testing and optimizing. Ads will go well and then they start to decline, and it's our time to always tweak them to start going up. So you'll see lots of different versions, but you can see here the winning headline was included, right? This is like a Frankenstein ad. This in other tests had been shown to get the biggest emotional response, and obviously, if you can see this, it makes sense. And then in here in the main copy, you can see, for example, this, why pay a ridiculously high price for a home you don't even like? That was another test that was very successful. In the earlier test that I showed you, that's one of the little ads that was out there and actually performed very well. So it's sprinkled, so the sentiments that we care about are sprinkled throughout the ad so that we're not guessing. There's no spaghetti testing here. They've already told us that this is what they believe. So of course people are clicking through. Of course they're going over to the landing page. Of course they're going to submit their information because the offer is strong enough. So in this case, the offer was a consultation, but because we had connected so well with these people, by the time they got over to the landing page and they saw even more about what we do and how we can help them, and we're using language that really resonates with them, of course, a consultation is a huge value to their lives. They'd love to speak with Afshin, right? And so we then make sure to generate that prospect, and then we start our follow-up campaign. And our, the drip campaigns are automated, and that's fantastic. The calls are made by the ISA. They get this person qualified, they get this person booked, and then Afshin handles the appointment and then converts them. And that's typically how our process works. That's what your process would look like. So it's a very custom and integrated system that's custom to you, your offers, time of year, your market, and a myriad of other things. Okay. So if you have any red flags, any reasons to feel like this doesn't fit your market, I want you to like jot them down right now, because I'm going to break down the numbers, but I still want to hear why you feel like, based off of what you've seen, this may not be the right system for you. Before I dive into the numbers, a couple of things to mention. These are just free floating a la carte points. They don't really fit into anything like per se, so I just tend to list them for people that are curious. Some people ask me, where do you get the leads? So I kept talking about digital marketing, digital ads. The truth is, we can go anywhere. What matters to me is the quality of conversation that you have on the back end. So we can advertise on Google Search, Google Display, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It ultimately doesn't matter. And ultimately, I don't think you care. A lot of times when I get that question, it's simply because the person has an idea of the type of quality of prospect or lead that each platform gives them, which is funny because apart from the fact that I've seen like multi-million-dollar deals being closed on Facebook, the platform that everybody hates, apart from that, it also tells me that you haven't had the benefit of working with a vendor that vetted their own prospects and vetted their own leads. They gave you prospects, they purported to give you leads, and they didn't vet them. They didn't put them through an ISA vetting process. If they did, the ISA was not using your criteria for your business. They told you what a qualified lead was. That's the only reason why you're getting bad leads from Facebook. That's the only thing that I've seen consistently happen every time I ask a couple of questions. That's the background story. So that's the thing to keep in mind. Second thing, we go month to month. We don't lock you into a contract because I believe performance and results will keep you here, as opposed to locking you into some sort of contract. So we don't do that. The third thing is that, oh, I already mentioned that we are exclusive. So that's all I wanted to cover before we actually move into the numbers. Okay, so like a proper business person, I want you to not just look at the costs, which go ahead and skip into it. The costs are here. I'll break that down for you in a second. We're fully transparent. There's no need for me to hide anything. So what I care about to make sure that this is financially feasible for you is I first need to know what is the average property value that you typically deal with, not what your market has. I don't want to know what your average market value is. I don't want to know what the median value is. I want to know what your average is. Okay, so if you're living in a luxury market but you're moving $200,000 homes, that's something I need to know, right? So I don't care about your market. I care about you. So you let me know what the average is. And then what we do is we do a comparison. I usually look at the buying side. Even though we do develop seller leads, we do get buyer leads. It's your choice as to what you'd like to look at. I like being conservative with numbers, and typically realtors are getting a lower commission on the buying side, anywhere from 2% up to 3%, sometimes lower, sometimes higher. But the people that typically go for our program are getting at the very, very least 2% in a really realtor saturated market, 2% up to 2.5% and then 3%. So most of the time, 2.5% is where it is. I'll use an average property value in general. Actually, just let's make it lower. So if you're dealing with properties at 300,000 at 2.5%, our internal goal for every single client that we work with is setting at least 4 appointments every single month. Okay, in your market, that might be a higher number, it might be a lower number. I can't tell you what the benchmark is going to be because data will tell me what the benchmark is going to be. If you're living in California and you sell high-end real estate, then the number of appointments you're going to get are lower because there's extreme realtor saturation. The market is very savvy to advertising, so they tend to skip it. They don't want to deal with the advertising, and it's harder to deal with them on the phone as well. So the appointments are going to be fewer, but the payoff is substantially higher than some of our more rural clients, right? So that's a consideration for you. So let's say we're dealing with a $300,000 property, 2.5% is our commission rate, and we're dealing with an average of 4 appointments per month. So this is where you come in. Think about the quality of lead that you would be looking for, and I need you to consider that these are not referral leads. Referral leads are gold, and that's that. But there is a use case for getting leads generated for you that aren't referral leads. So internet leads, people love to bash, but they come in very useful when you're trying to get yourself to a place where you have enough of a database to have a referral network. And it's also very powerful for people that have a referral network, but they're dealing with a glass ceiling. And sometimes it takes time for a realtor to encounter that glass ceiling. But at some point, if they have a growth mindset and they're looking to always consistently grow, sometimes they realize that the referral network is not growing fast enough. The database needs to be fed. And so internet marketing is a great tool for them. If you have a team and you're trying to recruit junior agents, one of the most powerful things that you can say is, we have lead generation tools and we're going to feed you, just come onto the team. And so that type of group of people also care about these types of services. So if you're, that being said, getting back to the breakdown here, if you're dealing with 4 properties and you know that, you know what, I typically deal with referral clients, but these are internet leads, they may not be the same, more work is required, longer time horizon. Out of every 4 appointments, I'll close 2 on the front end, and then maybe I can get the 3rd or 4th on the back end after a few months. So we'll just look at the 2 on the front end, because again, I want to be very conservative with my numbers. So we're looking at 300,000 at 2.5%. We sell 2 of those. Sorry, we help people buy 2 of those properties. We're dealing with $15,000 in gross commission, but we have referral fees to consider. Sorry, we have splits and fees to consider, and especially so on the listing side. So I'm only going to be looking at the split. A lot of agents are about 80%, some 70% or even lower. Some will have the broker split and then the team split. All that's increased complexity. So I'll let you run your own numbers here, but we're going to deal with a conservative number of 70%. So out of the 15,000, you're left with $10,500. This all is Canadian pricing, so we're going to ignore that and look over here. Okay, so $930 a month is the retainer fee for LeadSprout. It's very, very straightforward. It encompasses everything that I covered, all of the data work and the marketing management and all of that. No nickel and diming. So change this, take a look at this. Can you use this video? Can we talk about content? Can you let me know what kind of content I should be making? Can we create a content marketing strategy? Can we try marketing these listings? Can you try marketing for my junior agent? We're not nickel and diming you a cent. You're the president. I'm the marketing general. Anything that has to do with marketing, you just point to me and you let me know what's needed, and I'll figure a way of getting it done. If we can't do it in-house, I'll search outside in the expanded world, find people that can do it, oversee their work, get quotes, bring it to you. If you're down to move forward with them, then we will oversee their work and get it done for you. So at the end of the day, we'll get it done for you. So $930 a month is what encompasses us in general. No startup fees, no additional fees. I'm not even going to pretend to cross that out because that's hacky. It's just $930 a month. The only additional cost, there's two additional costs. Okay, so first additional cost is your advertising fee. We do not get paid your advertising fee. That leads to a lot of shady things that I've seen with other agencies. I don't want to deal with that. What we do is we connect your ad account, or you connect your own ad account with us guiding you on how to do that directly to Google, directly to Facebook, whoever we are advertising with. They'll charge your card directly, so you can actually see the charges go out, and that's that. If you have questions about it, you need invoices, whatever, you can ask us, we can do that, but you will never pay us your advertising costs. So advertising cost ranges anywhere from $600 to $900 a month. So that's $20 to $30 per day. $20 per day if you're looking for low volume, $20 per day if you're looking for strictly buyers, $30 per day if you're looking for high volume, if you're looking for sellers as well. And this is just the starting point. What I want to do is build you a pipeline where you're getting a return on your investment. And when we benchmark everything, we're going to know this is how much it costs us for a lead. This is how much it costs us for a qualified appointment that showed up. And then this is how much it costs us for a transaction. I want those benchmarks made because then you'll be able to come to us and say, hey, Eden, based on my conversion rate, I want to close an additional 20 deals next quarter. So based on that conversion rate, I'm going to need this many appointments, right? Right. Okay, awesome. And you need this much money in advertising budget to get that many appointments, right? Right. Okay, here's the money. Here's $6,000. I want to have 65 appointments. Wonderful. Let's do that. And so out of those 65 appointments, you, with your conversion rate, you get 30 deals, you get 20 deals. Like that's the kind of work that we're going to be doing in the future. Okay. So when we look at the total cost now, before we start increasing the ad budget after we start getting you deals, if you are paying the $30 per month, after you pay us, after you pay Google, it looks like $18.30. If you're doing $20 per day for some reason, then again, after you pay us, after you pay Google, we're looking at $15.30. Okay. Now, if you compare that to the revenue here, even with a lower cost, excuse me, we're left with 8,970. More importantly, we're looking at the ROI here. We're getting $5.86 for every dollar that you invested in this system. So let's be a little bit more conservative. What if we sold one property? Or sorry, we helped somebody buy one property. We're still making $2.43 on that investment. What if we sold a $250,000 property? We're making close to 2x. If you're a solid, savvy realtor and you're dealing with properties at that value and you know how to get volume, so you know how to get referrals from the one, especially, this is definitely going to be a profitable system for you. But obviously, the higher your market value, the more of a return you're getting on your investment. We do not take a referral fee because it heavily gouges a business that needs cash flow to grow. So we do not do that. And the other thing that you may not have seen is that it a lot of times forces vendors to behave very unethically. So very quickly, just to give you a description, if you had a business where you were sending out leads, right? So let's say out of your own personal database, you vetted them, you worked them, but you're not able to actually help them. So you send them to certain realtors. So you have a side hustle doing exactly that. So you work with 3 realtors in one particular city, let's say, and you feed them leads after you qualify them. Let's say you have a beginner, you have an average agent that's been in the market for about 10 years, and then you have a closer, like a solid closer. They've only been doing it for about 5 years, but they close deals. You put anybody in front of them, and they're so focused, they're so driven, they build such a strong relationship, they close deals. So the one person has a very high conversion ratio, the other person has a mediocre one, and the final average new realtor has a low one. You get paid by referral fees. You've invested into generating that prospect, or that lead, I should say. So you didn't charge your clients. They haven't paid you anything, but you paid Google to generate this. You paid your platform to house the lead. You paid ISAs, or you took time out of your day, meaning you've incurred an opportunity cost to validate these leads. There's a lot of things that you've done to get that lead ready to go. So you've sunk time and money into them. Are you going to be giving your solid closes, what we call in the automotive world a walk-up? You're going to give your walk-up over to the person with a bad conversion ratio? Does that make a lot of business sense? Aren't you tempted to move over to the person with a higher closing ratio and actually give the lead to them, so you're guaranteed some income? And then the person that's not really closing, you'll give them some people. Maybe they'll close them, maybe they won't, but you're going to give all of your solid leads to the person that can close, right? And so that's incredibly unethical. And then, of course, if you start charging them differently based off of their performance, you get them to hop through hoops, and then you trust them. All of that tends to be very unethical. And that's why we have this firm standpoint that we do not charge referral fees, but then also we manage your database as if we're a member of your team. We don't play the games that I've seen other vendors play. So I'll leave it there. This has been a lengthy video encompassing how we operate, but hopefully you found the value you've been looking for. If you're watching to this point and you have been gaining value the entire time, even if the answer is no, I would still like to speak with you. I would like to understand what you felt doesn't work within your market, because that's where I'm going to grow the most. I'm going to learn from that. I'm always looking to optimize and grow, so I want your feedback. And I love rubbing shoulders with realtors, because I learn with every interaction that I have. I learn, and if I can provide you with some value, if you have some questions about the service or something else you're dealing with on the digital front, perhaps I can help you there as well. Okay, I'll speak to you soon. I hope you have a wonderful day, and send over any questions that you have. Text me, email me, call me, whatever you like, and I'll get back to you immediately. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.